Have you ever stopped to think about what it really costs to follow an idea or a person? Today, we're diving into one of the most challenging and profound statements ever made, right out of the Gospel of Matthew. It's a call that goes against every single one of our instincts for self-preservation. Let's get right into it. Now, to really get the sheer weight of what Jesus is saying in verses 24 and 25, we have to understand the incredibly tense moment that came right before it. It all kicks off with Jesus making a prediction about his own future that just floors everybody.
Just try to picture the scene. Jesus has just told his closest friends his game plan: go to Jerusalem, suffer horribly, be killed, and then rise again. And Peter, his right-hand man, the guy who literally just called him the Messiah, he pulls Jesus aside and has the nerve to rebuke him. He tells him, no way, that's not happening. It's an absolutely unbelievable moment.
And this really gets to the heart of the whole misunderstanding. Peter's intentions were probably good, right? He's just trying to protect his leader. But his idea of a Messiah was a warrior king, someone who would kick out the Romans and restore Israel's glory, not a suffering servant. He was looking at everything from a completely human point of view, which is, to avoid pain and suffering at all costs. And Jesus' response? It is absolutely stunning. He turns to Peter, his friend, his rock, and calls him Satan. Now, it's not because Peter suddenly became evil. It's because his very human, very logical perspective was becoming a stumbling block, a temptation. Peter was pushing the world's agenda of self-preservation over God's divine plan of sacrifice. And that intense clash is what sets the stage for everything that comes next. So Jesus doesn't let this moment go to waste. He uses this misunderstanding and turns it into a masterclass. He turns from his private conversation with Peter to address all his disciples. And he lays out the ground rules, the non-negotiables, for what it truly means to follow him. And it all starts with this radical idea of self-denial. Here we are in verse 24, and this is the first condition. And notice how he phrases it. It's not a command, it's an invitation. If anyone wants to come after me. But this invitation comes with some pretty serious fine print. And the first line item is this huge concept, deny yourself. So what in the world does that actually mean? Well, the original Greek word used here is incredibly strong. It means to completely disown, to renounce, to say, I have nothing to do with that. And here's the kicker, the deep irony. It is the exact same word used later in the Gospels when Peter, out of fear, will deny that he even knows Jesus. So the choice Jesus is laying out is crystal clear. You either deny yourself or you will eventually deny him. So what does this look like in real life? It's not about becoming a boring person or getting rid of your personality. Not at all. It's about a total rewiring of your will. It means giving up our pride, letting go of our own personal ambitions, and releasing that deep down need we all have to be in control of everything. It's all about yielding to God's bigger purpose and following the path of humility that Christ himself walked. But, self-denial is only the first part of the equation. In the very same sentence, in the same breath, Jesus adds a second requirement that's just as demanding. Today, when we hear the word cross, we think of a symbol of faith, right? Maybe a piece of jewelry or something on top of a church. But for the disciples hearing this for the very first time, the image that popped into their heads would have been absolutely horrifying. To them, the cross was not a metaphor. It was a real, brutal tool of Roman torture and public execution. For them, taking up your cross meant one thing. It was the slow, agonizing walk of a condemned criminal, forced to carry the very beam of wood he was about to be killed on. So Jesus was telling them that following him meant being willing to accept that same level of rejection, shame, and suffering. It meant adopting a daily spirit of sacrifice, a readiness to be obedient even if it costs you everything. And that brings us to the final piece of this teaching, here in verse 25. This is where Jesus delivers this incredible paradox that just flips our whole understanding of what it means to live, to survive, completely on its head. Jesus basically lays out two different paths for life. The first way is to try and save your life, to hoard it, protect it, control it. He says if you go down that road, you'll end up losing it all. The second path is to lose your life for his sake, and somehow, that's the only way you can ever truly find it. You can really see the two mindsets laid out here, can't you? The world's way is all about self-preservation. Everything we're taught is look out for number one, get yours, protect what you have. But Christ's way is the total opposite. It says that real, authentic, eternal life only starts when you finally let go of that instinct, when you surrender your self-centered life for one that's centered on him. Now, for a lot of those early apostles, losing their life was a very literal thing. They died as martyrs for their faith. But for most people, then and now, it's about a daily martyrdom, a death to our own will. It's about choosing every single day to give up our own plans, our own comforts, our own desires, and instead choose to live for God's purposes.
And so this whole teaching leaves us with this timeless, piercing question that Jesus asks in the very next verse. He forces us to put everything the world offers on one side of a scale and our very soul on the other. It's a challenge that perfectly sums up the cost of discipleship, and at the same time, it reveals the infinite value of what we find when we're finally willing to lose it all.